Hello, Minecraftians, and welcome to another episode of your new favorite weekly Minecraft podcast show covering the most interesting theories, the lore, the intrigue, and explain all of those fun topics with real-world knowledge that make this game so great. I am your host, the Dark Lord, broadcasting straight from Charmois City, in the state named France, in the old world that I have dubbed Ombre Dieu in my overworld. I welcome you. This week's episode is titled Mooshroom Islands and Zombie Spores. This episode is covering Mooshroom Islands, and we are breaking down a whole bunch of stuff, guys. The island itself, its inhabitants, the only one that seems to be there, the mooshroom which the island, that biome is named after. Or is there two inhabitants cohabitating this strange land? More to come on that. And these mycelium blocks, these things that the island consists of. You know, if you've ever seen this biome, you've seen these blocks, and you probably question yourself, what are these? What the heck are these? Yeah, we're going to break this block down, guys. We're breaking this whole island down, piece by piece, and rearranging it into one beautiful, nice zombie theory. You heard that right. Zombies. Mooshroom Island is responsible for the zombie apocalypse. Yep, I just threw that gauntlet out there. Digest on that. But I am going to show you a plausible scenario of how this could have happened. By the end of this episode, I hope it gets you thinking. And I hope you take something away from it. I hope you at least gain some intrigue. Good or bad, I'll let my beloved Minecraft community here decide on my theory. But, you know, they're just theories, guys, so the best I can do is just get you thinking. But the theory really ties back to the previously mentioned mycelium. I believe I said that is what the island consists of. So buckle in, guys. You're in for a ride. So before we jump into mycelium, mushrooms, you know, that entire biome, I'd like to start this off with a poll that I took and link this back to last week's episode on the Cleric's Cloak. And I did a Reddit poll, and it was kind of interesting, you know. Let me see here. Yeah, and I got the results right here. And just let me tell you what I had. And I did a very simple question for the poll. Do villagers revere the creeper? And I gave two options, very binary, yes or no. And out of a huge whopping pool of 12 people, a huge data pool, right? The consensus there states that 66.7% say no. No, Dark Lord, no. They do not revere the creeper. No one does. Leave it alone. Hey, it was my theory. I'm going to stick with it. I think they're still revered. I think, you know, guys, if you didn't catch episode 1 and don't know what I'm talking about, I urge you to go to episode 1 and listen to, which is titled The Cleric's Cloak, and give that a listen. And that's what this poll is related to. 66.7% said no. They do not revere the creeper. But I'll try to implement polls like this in more of my episodes if you guys like this. I think it's kind of fun to get feedback, from the community. And also, guys, bear with me. I was exposed to the cold, tundra. Me being the Dark Lord, I was out in the tundra and I caught a bit of a cold. And I just can't seem to find a healing potion. And so that's why my voice is just a little bit off. So just bear with me. The show must continue, though. We are a weekly show and a news show on theories and culture and whatnot. We must continue. Anyways, we have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to delve into it. Mooshroom Island. Man, a land of mystique. Mooshroom Islands are true biomes of mystere and just complete isolation, people. Far from the shores of any continent or landmass, and typically surrounded by deep oceans. Made up of hills and peaks, typically a hazardous terrain consisting of steep hills at every turn. These places are treacherous looking, they're just jagged. And I'm not lying and not exaggerating when I say mycelium covers this entire island. It's like a living, breathing organism when you step ashore this place. And you can just imagine a squishy, texture, just like the foamy texture of the mycelium covering everything. It's kind of gross, actually. And then alongside the mycelium are giant mushrooms that are jutting out of the ground. And I mean, this place is a great host for it. And these blocks, you will hear later me say, you can grow these big mushrooms on. There's a good chance of them. It's an alien world, people. It reminds me of like a movie such as Avatar, or like some planet from Star Wars, like maybe where I don't know, where some planet Han Solo went to, I imagine, with all the mushrooms. And yeah, it really piqued my curiosity. I've always wanted to find one of these in the game and in my overworld that I've been building for a year, and they're one of the rarest biomes. I understand if you guys have not found one. In my overworld, I haven't found one yet, and I've explored a lot over a year. And however, my brother introduced me to it. My brother, the Sun King of Farthia. I went to his realm, and he had one. Like, he has quite the realm. He has a setup, and he has a unique Mooshroom Island biome. It's actually very petite. It's pretty jagged for its very petite nature. I think he had 2 cows on it before he sheared one. Once you shear it, it turns back to a normal cow. He didn't know to breed it. I think you can, I think you have to give them hay and breed them in order. You can't take a regular cow and try to breed with the Mooshroom cow. It doesn't work. So I think he only has one left, and he has all the Mooshroom stew he can ever want now. Anyways, I wish I had one in my game, and if you ever find one, they're just very unique biomes, very cool to look at. You need to get out and explore it. We are going to dive into the Mycelium Block. I'm going to give you a description of this because, obviously, as I stated, you're going to be standing on this anywhere you go on this island. Like when you're interacting with the Mooshroom cows, you're going to be stepping on this. To me, this Mycelium Block is like, I got a picture of it in front of me. When you get a chance, like, look it up. I'll provide a link. anyways, it's just a mottled off purple to me, like with hues of brown. In this, if you look closely enough, it's not just like this, as I said, a mottled purple. You will see, and this is kind of key to me, little splotches of this green, this gangrenous green, just in there, ever interspersed in there amongst this purplish. And you see on the block itself, it's singularly, you can see the mycelium network, the hyphae, the network, interwoven deep into the soil. This is an elaborate woven a fungi. I mean, it's just it's interesting to look at. When you get a chance, check out this block. But yeah, I think that the green has something to do with my zombie spore theory that I'm delving into on this. I think a lot of people just see the purple, and I think a lot of people haven't really stared at this cube like I have. Yeah, that's my job now, staring at cubes in detail, looking at the pixels. It's interesting, though, that I noticed when I saw that green, it made me think, because a guy on Reddit, when I threw out this Mooshroom Island theory, responsible for the zombie apocalypse, said, hey, there's no mushrooms growing off the zombies, man. Like, what are you talking about? And I said, you have a point. Like, you have a point, but let's examine this block a little bit further. I think there's something there. And the other day when I was really looking at this, I was like, wow, I think this green, it doesn't look quite like grass. And this is related to the grass block when they released it. It's supposed to be in relation to it. I don't think that's like leftover grass. I think that's a green algae, and that's what it looks like to me. And I think that's somewhat it ties in. I mean, it's fundamental to my theory. I think they might be, the green and the purple might be working symbiotically with each other. Yeah, maybe this is grass. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts. Comment on this. Let's examine some of the block's attributes, shall we? The Mycelium Block attributes here, I found a great source, and it's off IGN.com by Gutierrez, Joshua Luis Gutierrez, on Mycelium, a Minecraft guide back in June 2012. That'll be also posted down below. I recommend checking that out. It gives a lot, just how the game attributes of the block. I mean, a very cool attribute that I thought was neat was that nothing else can grow on these mycelium blocks except for mushroom and fungus. Like, you can grow the red mushroom, which I'm going to get into that here further in the podcast. You guys are going to have a lot of information on fungus and mushrooms, guys. Going to link this to the real world stuff too. But the Agaric red mushroom and then the brown button mushroom that you find in the game can grow on these, and I believe others, like from I believe in the Nether. I was just doing overworld research. This theory was derivative from the overworld, so that's where I kind of mainly stuck to. I haven't really delved into the Nether theories until later on the seasons, or into our show, I should say. We don't have seasons, but later in the show. Well, I'd like to go on to say the Mycelium Block, as I mentioned earlier, was added alongside in the game as a grass block variation to the grass block. Just wanted to let you know that, because I do want to even go kind of against my theory. I gotta disprove myself. I mean, it could be called out as grass, remnants of that, or something or other. So I mean, it was technically a variation on the grass block. Excuse me, guys. Just bear with my voice. Also, with this block, it really has a cool particle effect to it. Like when you look at it on the island, it kind of releases continuously this look, like spores are spewing out of it. I mean, it's kind of neat. Kind of puts a little bracing, I think, behind my zombie spore theory. And as I said, the mycelium blocks will allow the giant mushrooms to grow. So, I mean, that's pretty cool to have around if you want to grow these big mushrooms. And you can locate this island and do so, you know. But this, if you try to move it, it just becomes dirt, this block, unless you have the silk touch. And let me delve into the silk touch a little bit, okay? I kind of wanted to get that put in here. I know it's deviating a little bit off subject of the Mooshroom Island and everything, but I think it's necessary so you can go do this. So let's get into a little bit of silk touch. Just for a second, the silk touch is an enchantment that allows you to break a specific item. And it does that, like, it keeps it in its original form, if I'm explaining that well enough. Like, for example, moving a beehive or a campfire, and the campfire won't break into coal, like as if you tried to do. You can just take the whole thing as it is. It's very convenient. And, typical tools with the silk touch are the pickaxe, the wood axe, and the shovel and hoe. You can also use shears as well. And I'll also be leaving another article where you can find all this info as well. And that was all from Minecraft fandom. I get some good info from those guys. And ways you can get this silk touch, guys, just so you know, is you can get this by trading with villagers, enchantment tables, fishing for these enchanted books, and you can find the enchanted books in chests around the overworld. I'm sure you've plundered some places and explored and found random chests. You probably even already have one of these books. I just wanted to go ahead and let you know so you can, if you ever find this biome, you can go ahead and try to collect some of these. Though, if you happen to remove a block of this alien material and transplant it, let's say, in another biome, maybe close to home, maybe in your Sahara biome, an outpost somewhere, anywhere in the overworld, other than where it came from this isolated place, well, guess what? It will slowly consume that entire region. I think it'll stop at water, probably rivers and whatnot, but it'll slowly just swallow that wildlife like a biological wildfire. Pretty scary sci-fi horror movie stuff, huh? Yeah, that'd be crazy. Talk about Last of Us scenario. That's what this really makes me think of. This island just screams to me Last of Us, which I love that show. Not to veer off subject, but it's a good show. But that's what makes me think of, honestly, this island. I really want to get into, since I've talked about the Mycelium Block in the game, and we've gone into detail over that and its appearance and how you can obtain that if you want to. I mean, I think I would probably just do my mushroom farming on the island and just connect a rail system out there and just rail back and forth. I don't think I would bring that and risk like it just consuming everything around me. But, if you want to, I provide you the instructions to consume your world with a fungus. Anyways, I want to get this back into, bring it back and tie it to the real world so we can get, a bigger, better picture of how this fungi could have started the zombie apocalypse. Because, in the real world, there's some weird, creepy stuff. And I did some research into it, on fungi, mycelium, and all that fun stuff. And, let's get right after it. I found a great source by qkew.org, and it's by a Johnston Eddy and Grace Brewer, titled Mycelium, Exploring the Hidden Dimension of Fungi. This was published, it looks like, March 11th, 2023, so not too long ago, guys. It's a very relevant source, and it's a good one, which will also be left in the description page. I'm going to try to put those in subsequent order as I talk in the show, obviously. And anyways, let's discuss a few things about mycelium that we live with. I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Let's picture yourself, right? The last time that you're in your kitchen and you're looking for that bag of bread, wheat or white. I don't know the preference. Don't matter. And let's say that you were trying to find it, you want to make a sandwich or toast, peanut butter toast or something, and what have you, don't matter. And you pull it out, right, eager to get this thing ready, and as you bring it out of that bag, you notice a white, maybe a black or green fuzz, and instantly turned away from that. Yeah, don't want that penicillin, right? I throw that away. I just toss it. But that's hyphae. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sure I'll get some comments from the science people out there that love Minecraft. Hyphae, let me know. My Latin's not the best. I'm a French guy. But hyphae, I'm going to call it that, is the network of the mycelium that you almost ate right then and there. Or maybe you did eat it by accident. I don't know. If you did eat it, then you're probably fine, I imagine. WebMD it. But these networks, these hyphae, these can grow up to 10 kilometers. And for us Americans, I'm going to break that down to miles. That's 6.214 miles to be specific. And we have one that size. That's where we got the reference. It's in Malheur National Forest in Oregon. And I bet that would, be a pretty cool national park to go see. Honestly, but that just blew my mind. 6.214 miles, 10 kilometers, I believe, in diameter this thing was. All one living organism. I think it mentioned it was one of the biggest known living singular organisms in the world. So that was really cool to read about. So I think it's safe to say that these Mooshroom Islands that you find here in Minecraft, in the overworld you're in right now, that maybe you're close to or that you're on, they're covered by one huge mycelium network operating together. I just find that fascinating. It's like the whole island's alive. It's alive. And the mycelium, just to let you know, that I found in this article, it just to give you a little bit some comparison. Mycelium is comparable to roots of a tree, but for the fungi. And these roots are kind of like threads, and they search for decomposing matter. Or, he even went on to say, living matter. Living matter. I wonder what that info could be used for. What crazy theory. Yeah, maybe seafarers picking up a fungi and bringing it back as zombie fungi? Well, anyways, they release the mycelium in these hyphae networks. They release or secrete enzymes to break it down, this matter decomposing or living. and it's utilized for nutrients. And I'm going to delve into the reproduction of it. The fuzz here, the mycelium, also plays a role in reproduction for this organism as a whole. They can meet and mix DNA with similar funguses mycelium, like two different varieties. I'm pretty sure I was understanding this right. I read this article several times, but so two different kinds can converge and make a new one. I mean, isn't that crazy? I mean, Mother Nature is just fascinating to me. I'm sure it is to you guys too. If you're still listening to this, it must be. So yeah, this DNA can mix with a similar fungus as mycelium, and they can converge and make a whole new one. And that ties into my theory too, is that maybe the green and the purple variant of color of mycelium in this block, maybe they converged, and maybe they're converging, or maybe one of them, or just one of them, is responsible for the zombie spore virus. But after fusing these mycelium, they create spores, and these spores can be stored internally, like truffles, for example, or externally in the form of mushrooms that you see in real world, and also in the overworld, the mushrooms that you see just popping out of the ground. And that is essentially the fungi's reproductive system, those mushrooms that you see. Yeah, I can just imagine a new killer type of fungi emerging from this mixture of DNA and adaptation into an environment, or a reaction to its environment, and becoming a zombie spore. Again, very Last of Us-esque, right? Who knows, really? Yeah. Anyways, guys, many of these release spores after reproduction. But some of the mycelium itself will fragment off and form their own networks. So they don't necessarily need to release spores to reproduce. These things can actually split and fragment off, and then go ahead and form their own hyphae networks. Isn't that just interesting? I love this stuff. I just think it's great. I mean, wow. So now we've learned a lot about mycelium, and there's a lot more that you can look up in these articles to read. I just covered the basis on those, and I mean, my ecologists, I believe, are the ones researching fungi, and there's whole branches of study towards this that you can find online, so delve into there, guys. Okay, so we got done discussing mycelium, and we learned a lot over that, and I threw a lot of information at you guys, and it was very fascinating to learn from that article that hyphae being the network of the mycelium altogether, and then us learning about how it reproduces through fragmentation, not just spore, but the mycelium can fragment off and reproduce and form its own networks, or it can do the spores, as we see the mushrooms in our day-to-day lives are the reproductive organ that casts out the spores. So that was all very interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I mean, it's just crazy how mycelium works. How it can get crazier until you see the mushrooms. Yep, our anticipated mushrooms, guys. And I finally am getting to the mushrooms, which the island is named after. And I'm pulling out my trusty Mobestiary, and it's brand new, so I don't have to dust that off. But I keep it typically on me, or store it in my lair in my, overworld. But if you got one, it's on page 16 and 17, and they have, I just want to describe them to you. They are unlike anything else you'll see in the game, and that's actually kind of crazy for me to say because there's a lot of weird things to see in this game. But these guys really stand out. You guys are familiar with the red mushrooms, right? With their white, with the red with the white, like polka dots around the cap of it. Well, that's what these things are. That's what they look like. They look just like a cow, but let's say as that mushroom. Their skin has that pattern with the white dots all over their hide. And they even have, and it's almost kind of sad to look at, I don't know if it's comfortable for these organisms, but these former cows, but there's mushrooms growing on their backs, like 3 or 4. I'm seeing 3, one directly on the cranium, like right on top of the head. The babies don't have the mushroom visually growing off them, but they have the skin, the hide pattern of their adult parents the same. You can tell that they are little baby mushrooms. And let's kind of get into the mushroom. And I got this again from my bestiary. That they have the flight agaric, which that's, you can't even dispute, it is flight agaric. That's what these red mushrooms with the white spots all over the caps are. And I don't think you can really doubt that it's controlling their brain, because there's one, like I said, directly on top of it, of its cranium. And if I could just go ahead and read you a living poll that's going right now, a live one. It's not finished until a couple days. It's on my Reddit, from the lair. And it's posing the question, are mushrooms controlled by the red mushrooms? Otherwise the flight agaric. And it was a simple survey like the one I mentioned earlier about the cleric's cloak, and it was a simple yes or no. So, are the mushrooms controlled by the red mushrooms? Are the mushrooms controlled by the red mushrooms? Tongue twister. Yes or no? And so far I have 21 votes. More votes than I had on the last poll, guys. We have 9 that say yes, they are being controlled by those mushrooms. And then we have 12 that so far say no. So the majority say no, but I've been watching this closely and it was almost a close tie. Like, it was a 1 vote difference. The yes people always were about 1 vote behind the no's. There's still a day and 8 hours left on this. 1 day and 8 hours, and yeah, it's an interesting poll. I'm going to be adding those to episodes too. I'm going to try to get that to this episode. A poll similar, if I can get that for you guys. I think that'll be fun to do. Also, again, comment, guys. I would love to hear comments. But yeah, I think that's fun to hear these live polls I got going. So again, the majority of people are saying, believe so far that I have on this poll here, no. I believe that I'm one of the yes people. Obviously, I need to support my theory, right? But no, back to the mushroom. I want to explain this this mob in the game. Like I said, it has these mushrooms all over it. The baby doesn't, but it has the hide, just like the parents. And a cool feature about this, you heard me say, my brother has infinite mushroom stew. He does. Like, as long as he uses a wooden bowl, he can gather as much as he wants. He can also get milk from that cow. They have all the same features. They are actually better than your typical cow. If you come to think about it, it drops 5 mushrooms when you shear it, but then it goes back to a regular cow. Like, that's a crazy thing. Once you shear, it's almost like you're removing the stem of it. It cures it. It's like you remove the parasite from it, the fungus, and I know I keep saying fungi, but you remove the fungus from it, and it comes back as a regular cow. But that's probably why you want to breed these and have a numerous amount, so you could probably go ahead and shear them and get as many mushrooms as you want. Because like I said, if you don't have 2 of those to reproduce with, then you kind of lose, you can go into an extinct event. You don't want to lose all your mushrooms, because unless you find another biome, I don't think a regular cow wandering onto that mycelium block turns into a mooshroom. I don't believe I found that. That's something if you want to correct me on, I'd love to know. But like I said, you can get milk using a bucket from these. They drop leather like a normal cow, and with the plus of the mushroom stew and the 5 mushrooms that they drop. Let's go ahead, guys, and I want to break down fly agaric. So I found real cool on that, and we're going to delve right into the real world fly agaric, guys. Let's see here. The fly agaric, Agaric, or if you want to get fancy with its binomial nomenclature, it's the Amanita muscaria, and I probably did not say that right. So I'll probably hear a lot about that. And if you want to impress your friends, guys, go ahead and say Amanita muscaria, or muscaria. Probably one of those. I'm going to go with muscaria, guys. And this is upon this article here that I found from Colorado Arts and Sciences magazine by a Jeff Mitten, titled "Fly Agaric and Related Death Cap Mushrooms Synthesize Dangerous Chemicals," published on August 31st, 2021. I'll also have that link, guys, don't worry. He goes on to state the origins of the fly agaric, and I was kind of shocked to hear. I wasn't thinking this cold of region, but from Siberia and Beringia 3 million years ago, I guess, it originated from those 2 regions. And Beringia, by the way, I had to look up where the heck this was. I've never heard of this place. It sounded like some ancient old, I don't know, made up mythical place that the Romans invented. I don't know. But Beringia, I looked it up, don't worry, and I'm going to break it down because I'm sure you're wondering what is Beringia. And some of you people may know this. Me, I am not one of those, but I am now. And you will be too. So I got a quote here. Let me see here. And sorry about the source. It's a Wikipedia, but it seemed pretty good because I also got the map from that. And quote, let me see here. Quote, Beringia is defined today as the land and maritime area bounded on the west by the Lena River in Russia, on the east by the Mackenzie River in Canada. End quote. I just thought that was interesting, and from the map, it looks like it covers the Bering Strait area, but like the Bering Strait between the Bering Strait that links, sorry, I'm stammering there, Alaska to Siberia, Russia. And if you look at the map, it just is like a maritime region that kind of goes onto the shorelines. And I guess that was just the way they defined this region of land by the name Beringia. And I'm sure there's a lot more stemmed into that. And I didn't read that entire article, but you guys feel free. I mean, I've heard of Siberia. Beringia was a whole new one for me, so I thought that was kind of cool to learn that. So it came from Siberia and Beringia, and today, though, I mean, those were the origins, right? And today it can be found in many places. And let me list them. I'll start with Australia. It can be found there, in New Zealand, South Africa, South America, North America, Asia, Europe, and appears the entire wide world. No, I'm just joking. That all those places, I'm sure it's not up in Antarctica. I don't think it's in Antarctica. I didn't see that there, and it wouldn't make sense. I don't think hardly anything lives there. But you get the picture there, right? And let's move on to the effects that that people have experienced by eating this. Some of the effects of these mushrooms, the fly agaric, they don't sound appetizing at all, guys. I don't recommend trying these. Like, don't try it. Like, these things blend in with other mushrooms that are extremely deadly and I read somewhere, maybe in this article, but like, you'll shut your kidneys down and it leads to fast expiration on this planet. Anyways, the effects of this stuff is, if you were to ingest this, which a lot of people have, and they do, and whatever, if that's your thing, I'm just saying I don't recommend it. But it's you'll get nauseous, vomiting, dizziness, hallucinations, which is probably why people are doing that, involuntary movements, delirium, and seizures. Now, those are all things that can be attributed by ingesting these. And as I said, people did a long time ago too, and from what I found, in rock art dating back to 3500 BC, originating in Algeria. And wow, that's a long time ago. I wonder how these people came across it, but it kind of seems kind of hand in hand, the art and nauseating psychedelics. Also, the berserkers, I believe those are the guys, the dudes in the Vikings, took this, and this is from the article, to become enraged and become indifferent to pain. Yeah, so this made people react very, like, they were ill and hallucinogenic, going through some psychosis type effects, and getting all jazzed up for war and didn't want to feel anything and going after it. So there you have it on the fly agaric, brief history on that and effects. Now for the Minecraft, how they affect you in the game, which is interesting. They replicated this very similar to real world symptoms. Like, you have a 50% chance of having nausea, hunger, dizziness inflicted upon you, and lasting, from what I've read, 10 seconds. And I believe it looks like here it causes 1 hunger point or icon loss, and that was found on minecraftfandom.com. If you were to type that in, the red mushrooms. Let's get into their environments where they're found in the game. I have swamps all over my world, so I have mushrooms galore, guys. I don't have any Mooshroom Islands, which I want so desperate, but they have I have a lot of swamps, so I have them there, and other random places like fallen logs. You'll see them growing there. I don't know if you guys noticed the fallen logs in forests. They'll pop up there, which are cool. Adds a nice little effect to it, I think. Also, they grow in old growth taigas. That kind of makes sense to me because of the decomposing leaves. Anywhere in the nether, which I didn't think of till now, kind of makes sense. I haven't tested that. I guess that extremely warm, balmy, lava-filled atmosphere is a prime place for mushrooms. I guess I know I've seen them in there because I've been in the nether at forts in there, but I must have just bypassed that in my thinking that they were in there. I just was oblivious. Obviously, they're on the Mooshroom Islands. They grow, and when they grow, they do produce a poor light. like an ambient light, as a source of light, which I didn't know until I read this. And I thought it was fascinating that these things grow. You don't see other organisms in the game growing unless you feed it or you do it manually. These things are on autopilot. They spread. Like I said, they'll consume biomes. This Mycelium Block. The mushrooms will also spread as well. So I think that is very fascinating to me, and that also, I believe, supports my theory, because these things are very unique to the game, and how their functionalities perform. Anyways, let me see here. Moving on. You can pick these up with your bare hands. You don't need anything special, guys. You can just pluck them up. You don't need a special tool like a shovel or anything like that. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of real world data and a little history on that fly Agaric. So next time you're meandering around your overworld and you see these popping up all over the place, hey, yeah, that is not also probably a hi-fi network. That is, Berserkers took that to get prepped up for war. Yeah, see, you can just drop some random knowledge on your buddies in the realm now. And that's why you got Realm News, right? And we aren't done yet, guys, with this episode. I know this is a long one, but I feel like there's a lot to talk about. I'm trying not to bore you. I hope you're enjoying this. But we're going to get into some Cordyceps. And that's the real, like, if you're into sci-fi, that's the real crazy stuff there, guys. The Cordyceps here in our real life world outside of Minecraft. Cordyceps. And I'm using Cordyceps, guys, because this is going to just prove my theory more that this zombie virus is responsible for the zombies. So, yes, we're going to delve into Cordyceps. Cordyceps. You may have heard of it. It's been very popular lately. But I'm going to start this part of Cordyceps with a quote by Redditor. A Redditor who goes by u/mesmerfriend, and that's at Reddit. Quote, "Mushrooms are a passive mob that spawns only in the Mooshroom Island biome. They are cows and not a subspecies, because if you use shears, the mushroom transforms into a cow. You get the mushrooms, but are they parasited or helps each other? I think mushrooms are parasited. Their eyes are black like zombie eyes. This mushroom is a parasite. This reminds me of something, but what is it? Cordyceps is a genus of Ascomycete fungi, sac fungi, I didn't know that, that includes about 600 species, end quote." And I go on to say she is spot on, folks, because I looked it up. There is about 600 species, but I wanted to say that I asked for permission for that too. I messaged this person, and they said I could use it, and I wanted to use this because I found fascinated that the black eyes of the mushrooms, like the zombies. I didn't notice that in my bestiary until I read that. And so that gives it gives a semblance to the zombie, and that definitely gives some unifying look, a commonality. Just a blank look, like there's nothing there anymore, just the unliving dead. But I don't know, I think that's also, that similarity also, I think that gives credence to my theory of it being a fungus. Anyways, I really thank you again, Mesmer Friend, from Reddit, for letting me use that. I thought it was very interesting. And guys, send me your stuff. I'll use it on the show, if it pertains to the subject. And so Cordyceps, I want to start. I know that this is a longer episode, guys, but there's a lot to talk about in this. This is a big theory, the zombies. And I mean, it's been an ongoing theory since this game started. Where did the zombies come from? So I'm trying to really elaborate on this. But with Cordyceps, I watched a gnarly video, which I'm going to provide here, that was attached to this great article by Jennifer Liu, titled How Parasitic Fungus Turns Ants into Zombies. National Geographic, April 18th, 2019, not too long ago, guys. And this was just a jaw-dropping video that was attached to this article. You know, National Geographic, just wow, they do an amazing job with their cinematography, with everything. How they film is just amazing. How they can follow an ant. I'll be leaving this link with all the other ones, guys, so don't worry, in the episode description below, so check it out. And this will really remind you of Last of Us, that video. Like, it's very scary stuff. Honestly, like, if you're squeamish, like, seeing fungus and stuff, don't watch it then. Like, don't, because you're going to see, like, spores shooting through the bodies of insects. Like, that's just how weird and gross and nasty this fungus can get towards its host. In the video, it is the fungus that goes by, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, Cordyceps unilateralis. Cordyceps unilateralis. That was a little bit easier than I thought. And I want to give you guys some facts on what I found here. The infection, this is all from the video, guys, by the way. It has an incubation period of a few days. And that kind of ties into my seafarer importation disease theory, like of death ships bringing in these, the infected, and them going through an incubation period. They weren't dead when they came back. Or maybe they were. I'll get back in. That's another episode. We aren't getting to that. This episode's long enough. It has a 100% lethal kill rate to these ants, the infected host. Like, so they're dead. Whoever gets this, they're dead. And just to let you know what happens in this video, okay, I'm going to sum it up. A spore lands on an ant, and I can't remember what type of ant, but it's down in some jungle, and the spore lands on it, and it gets inside the ant. And apparently it does not infect the brain. Researchers have examined that and did a complete breakdown of its anatomy to figure out how this was controlling its movements. Yes, I said that. It controls it. Like, it takes control of its muscles. It wraps its around its muscle sheaths. It wraps its mycelium and pumps it full of chemicals to control its movement in order to get to a preferable ground. And in this video, that was 10 inches off the surface to like the perfect humidity, perfect microclimate, it goes on to say. And then it makes this ant, involuntarily controls this ant against its will to jut its jaws. They call it the death clamp, into the leaf, the fleshy leaf. It jabs its jaws in there, and from what I assume, it makes it jab its jaws into this leaf so it can secure itself before it kills it. It kills it from consuming it from the inside. And let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, I think it took 3 weeks. Yeah, right here. It took 3 weeks for the spores to release out of the plant, or out of the ant. And it releases, like, you'll see in the video, it's really gross to see. A spire shoots right through this ant. It looks like its head, which isn't the case. It's not coming from its brain. But some of these cordyceps do infect the brain, like this caterpillar. It does. It shoots straight out of that. So it doesn't just infect ants. It does whole, like, spiders, caterpillars, flies, different species, which is kind of scary. Kind of scary to think about what these things can all control. It makes you think, and it made me think, obviously, because I have a whole theory that this fungus or fungi, the purple green, or maybe one of the two, are responsible for zombifying a seafarer explorer in the ancient builder era and brought it back to the main populace and infected everybody. And that's why you see the zombies today, thousands of years later, roaming the overworld, thanks to Cordyceps and thanks to fungi, mycelium, hyphae networks, and all the stuff I described. I mean, I think it's just wild. And that video, guys, please go check it out. I'm going to leave that, like I said, in the description of the show here. And I mean, just the quality of the video itself, you need to check it out. Unless you're just, squeamish of that type of stuff, then I don't recommend it, because it is a little off-putting to watch it. Yeah, very cool stuff, guys. So let me wrap this all up for you like I'm going to do with this episode, guys. Yeah, we're finally getting to the end here. So the mushrooms, like I explained, their appearance with the mushrooms on their back and then directly on their skull or on their cranium, wearing it, sporting it like a hat almost. This is a cordyceps. It's visible. It's going right to the brain. It rearranges them physically, but from their hide to how they, internally, I should say, how they produce mushroom stew now alongside milk production. And it's evident that they are regular cows that were infected, because if you shear them and take the host off them, they return to their normal cow state. So I threw a lot of science at you too, from the fly agaric that is growing from the mushrooms. I wanted to do that so you know what they resemble in the real world, and just to give it a little bit more, description, and to add to the lore of Minecraft. And then I wanted to delve in further with the mycelium to show how mushrooms are, that's not just everything to them. There's a whole network underneath the mushroom, the mycelium, which forms the hyphae, and that can go to above 6 miles in diameter as one living organism, and that's just fascinating. And ultimately, all this research from the cordyceps and the mycelium all ties into my theory that I believe seafarers came exploring this island and got infected by a zombie spore, quote unquote, and there was an incubation period longer than the arrival back home, the return back home, I should say. And so they got back home sick or infected with the zombie virus and spread it to the main populace and wiped out the entire ancient the ancient builder civilization. And that wraps it up, guys, in a nutshell. And I hope you loved this episode. I thought it was interesting. The research, at least, was great. I learned a lot from it. It was educational for me, and I hope it was for you too. And the things I talked about the game, I hope you got something that you can use for when you come to this biome in the game. And maybe be a little careful by taking that Mycelium Block with the Silk Touch and planting it back in your home world or your hometown in the overworld, and because that could be a dangerous thing. You don't want to lose all your vegetation and your beautiful landscape and turn it that color. It's not the prettiest color, I don't think. So yeah, that was Mooshroom Islands and their biomes and how it zombified the world. I really hope you guys love the show. thanks again. And I urge you guys to keep crafting, keep using your imagination, never quit exploring. Until next Thursday and every Thursday, I'll be here to present you another fun realm news that will get you further into the game, into the lore, into the theory, and connect that to the real world with some fun knowledge. And before I forget to mention, guys, if you enjoyed the show, if you gained something from this and you just found it interesting, I really urge you to please hit that subscribe button. Please rate it. I that's a way that I can learn how to improve, is by seeing those ratings and whatnot. And that will help me produce a better show for you guys. And also by commenting down below. I love the interaction with the fans, the polls and everything, and spitballing theories is just fun for me. So yeah, please, I urge you to leave a comment as well, subscribe, rate the show, and please tell your friends about it. Spread it with the Minecrafting community if you get some enjoyment from this. Maybe somebody else would. So till next time, I'll see you next Thursday.